Bienvenidos al Mr. Franquicia Podcast, el podcast en español número 1 en el mundo maravilloso de las franquicias, conducido por su servidor Rafael Álvarez. Estamos en vivo desde el piso 85 del One World Trade Center desde la ciudad de Nueva York. Así que prepárese que el programa va a comenzar. Saludos, greetings. Bienvenido una vez más. Welcome to the Mr. Franquicia Podcast. Estamos en vivo desde el piso 85 de One World Trade Center. We are live from the One World Trade Center in New York City. Beautiful afternoon here. And today we have a special guest. We have a really interesting podcast. I'm really waiting for this one because it's something that has a lot of potential. I mean, I'm very impressed with this particular brand that we're going to introduce. Estoy bien impresionado. Así que nuestra gente latina, prepárense. El podcast va a ser en inglés hoy porque nuestro invitado habla inglés solamente, pero si quieren, las traducciones las van a poder encontrar en nuestras otras plataformas, YouTube y todo eso, pero lo vamos a hacer en inglés hoy because today we have a very special guest. His name is Edward James. Edward is vice president of a very unique, I will say unique concept. The name of the company is Bidexecs, which is really they just recently launched a franchise that is really focusing on bidding contracts in commercial government contracts and that sort of thing. So I'm really interested and ready to learn everything that Edward have to share with us because it's something that really is going to open a lot of our followers' mind and see the potential. And perhaps you guys will be able to jump into this particular extremely profitable industry that can really change a lot of your, lives. So pay attention because Ed has a lot of great info to share with us. Bienvenido. Welcome, my friend Edward James. How are you?
I'm doing great, Rafael. It is an honor to be here. And hello, everyone out there. Again, thank you all for joining us today. And again, Rafael, this is such an honor to be here with you today.
No, my friend, we are really honored to have you in this particular occasion in our podcast. It's our pleasure. As a matter of fact, I recently met Ed at a Latino franchise conference in Dallas, Texas. And he made a presentation about his franchise business model and really caught my attention because it's something so unique that I don't know anybody else. I don't know who's your competitors. You will be able to tell us exactly how this whole thing works. I have some ideas how that model works, but the possibilities are incredible. But before we get into the franchising and everything else that we're going to be sharing with you, why don't we go deep and try to learn a little bit more about who is really Edward James? Ed, where are you from? Where are you at? Where you were born and where you grew up?
Well, currently I am living in Dallas, Texas. So I'm a Dallas, Texas for the last 15 years anyway. I grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas. Went off to school to Arkansas State University, and then I went into the military, both the United States Marine Corps and the Air Force. And my road then took me into the corporate world. And when I went into the corporate world, I got into franchising. But before I even talk about the corporate world and all that, I must say my biggest joy of life is that I'm a husband of 31 plus years, and we have 5 children and 3 boys and 2 daughters, and they are also grown. So that is my greatest accomplishment, is that, and I say being a good father. But when I went into the corporate world, the number one thing was I always found myself into franchising and franchise systems. Um, the first franchise system that I worked for was McDonald's, and then it moved on to 7-Eleven. And I spent
When
about
was that?
20,
Which year was that?
I'm
Which
sorry,
year? Which year? How long ago?
for McDonald's from 2000 to 2005, and then 7-Eleven 2005 to 2019.
In Texas, right?
No, all over the country.
All over the country. Okay.
Correct.
Wow.
While with 7-Eleven, I actually had your home state of New York. I was the Northeast franchise manager. And so anyway, I became more national, and I started homing in on the underserved markets, which I became a DNI. At the time, it wasn't anything such as diversity and inclusion, but I was already doing it. I made it a point from a data perspective to recruit as far as franchisees, franchisees that were in the Latino marketplace, that was in the communities. And of course, being here in Texas, there's a large population here, and it's one of those, again, it's one of those matters in which, why shouldn't the owner of, at the time, that 7-Eleven look like someone from that community, and they make that money within that community. So I guess in a sense, again, from our Latino franchise symposium, which you're well aware, I'm a little bit of a radical when it comes to franchising. And I don't get it when I say franchising and advocacy for franchising. I'm talking about also franchising as far as across the board within all communities. And what we find a lot of times within our Black and Brown communities is, number one, just the lack of knowledge of knowing that the opportunity even exists. And and that is like my burning desire is to, one, get the information out there. That's another reason why
Well, you and I have the same mission, my friend, because I can tell you, sometimes I felt like, it feels very lonely in this industry. I've been in the industry 20 years as a franchisor, and I remember, I mean, I used to go to the trade show, IFA events, and things like that, and I said, where are my people? I mean, at one point, I hear that there were only like about 5 or 6, not even 10 Latino-owned franchisor. I mean, when you look at the numbers, I mean, at least if you're going to talk about diversity in the industry, obviously, I'm very happy that you're bringing that up, because we definitely need a lot of people like you that have that mindset that really, the franchising industry to really open up the doors for more minorities, have a more diverse group. Because when I look at least on my group, the group that I represent as a Latino, 52 million Latino living in the United States. We represent almost 20% of the total population. And when you look
Correct.
at how many franchisors, I'm not going to talk about franchisees, but how many Latino franchisors, and I always ask the question, yo siempre hago la misma pregunta a toda la gente que yo conozco. Who do you know that owns a franchise brand that is a Latino? 99.99%. James, people tell me no one. I know you, but I don't know anybody else, because you're not gonna find it. There is only a handful of us in the nation. We're like a rare species, I guess, in this industry. I'm sure the same thing with the African American. I mean, I know Chuck, he's really creating a lot of waves, right? But we definitely have to really do more of this. But continue.
Well, that part goes into like the Latino franchise symposium that you and I, had the pleasure of being at this past week. And again, it's more forms of that type, and also franchisors that will actually open the door to say, yes, have these events, at our sites. And because again, it's educational. Now, again, and I also put the emphasis with everyone that was there about the 6 degrees of separation. And that 6 degrees of separation is that, yes, you and I, we know about it, but we are a voice of one. But when we speak to a crowd of whether it's 200, 300, 100, whatever that may be, is they take that and also share that information. And that's why I emphasize at the symposium, please, everyone here, yes, we know that now you are aware of the franchise opportunities, but within your organizations, your fraternities, your sororities, your trade organizations, your chambers of commerce, share the information so that we could get more owner operators within all the different industries. I'm not limited to just one specific industry. Of course, everyone knows about the restaurant industry. That's, but not everybody's going to be a McDonald's franchisee. Okay. It's about any time or any business that you could possibly think of, there is potentially a franchise model out there. And take those learnings, because they've already done some of the failure, parts of starting the business. So that's why I'm also, again, I'm a big advocate for franchising an already made business. So instead of going out there and recreating the wheel, and then as good as you and I are in any business that we may be in, we can't do it all. We can be maybe good in across the board, whether it's marketing or it's accounting. We may be good in doing each of them, but how about let's be great and focus on the part of the business that makes us happy in order that we grow that business.
I have to also acknowledge and give credit to the International Franchise Association, because they, as you already know, and I noticed that in that event that you and I participated, there were some members of the IFA there, but they has been pushing and creating some diversity, initiative. I know that they recently launched our Latino council now that is going to be embracing the Latino community. I know that they have a great African American council that is really doing quite a lot and promoting.
Right. I'm also on that council.
You are. Oh yeah. I saw your name there. Congrats,
yes.
man. Congrats. That's good.
Yes.
And our friend Erica Garza. Let's give a round of applause to Erica, because
absolutely.
And she's the chairperson, the chairwoman of the council that is handling the Latino franchise. What is it?
Franchise Council, the Latino Leadership Franchise
Council. Yeah, that's the exact name. Yeah.
And Erica and I, we go way back. We actually go back to 7-Eleven days where we cut our teeth in franchising.
I noticed that. But people should know that 7-Eleven is one of the largest, franchise in the world. I mean, over 70,000 locations based on what I recently read. I mean, in terms of growth, I mean, they are number 2. I mean, number 1, obviously, we know is McDonald's. Everybody knows that. But 7-Eleven, I was really impressed when I saw the numbers. And a lot of people, and correct me if I'm wrong, don't know that 7-Eleven is a Japanese company, franchise company. Is that right? A lot of people think that 7-Eleven is an American company, and in reality, it is a Japanese. But to know that they are number 2, almost generating about 80, almost $90 billion. I mean, it's just, I mean, when I look at the income generation in terms of the top 10 or the top 20 franchises generating income, guys, I did my homework. I noticed that the first 2 are McDonald's and 7-Eleven, and then there is such a huge gap between 7-Eleven and the next franchise in terms of income, because McDonald's and 7-Eleven, they're generating about $90 billion, and then the next one is generating about, I believe, like 40. I mean, there is a difference about $50 billion difference. So, wow. Right. These 2 are really ahead of the game in terms of income. Interesting. But I'm glad that you were part of that company. What was your role at 7-Eleven?
I was actually the head of franchising for diversity and inclusion, D&I.
Wow.
And I focused on veterans, women, and of course, the Black and brown community, minorities.
Very good. So that was your first franchising? that
I'm
you
sorry.
learned a lot of, you were able to enhance your skill in
Yes,
franchising?
I was, but and I did it a lot from a data-driven perspective. One of the things that it's one thing to say, yes, we need more of our businesses owned within our communities. And when I say the word communities, I'm talking about all of America. We don't just all live in a Black community, or my community is strictly Latino. It's all of America. Um, when you look at the data, and this is the thing, internally, all companies look at who is my top performing franchisees. It's the old 10-80-10 rule,
Mhm.
which I know you're familiar with.
Uh-huh.
And if you look at some of the carry through, or the lines that what is it that these top 10% have in common? A lot of times you'll find that, well, hey, they are a veteran. Uh, they more or less look like their community. So
Mhm.
when I say that piece, we're talking about Black and brown.
Mhm.
And then the third part is women. Believe it or not, women are I don't like hurting fellas, feelings, or guys' feelings, but women are some of the best business owners, are franchisees that you can go after. So I don't know if it's the nurturing or whatever it may be, but that is data.
I
Again,
totally agree. I totally agree. In my brand, I mean, at one point I have like 80, between 80 to 90% of the franchisees were all women. I mean, it was really, really something. And as a matter of fact, the number one franchisees of the brand that I created, I mean, I think she still is. I mean, she's been like number one, a woman out of Allentown, Pennsylvania. She's been number one for the last, I don't know, 10 years or so. So it's incredible. You are 100% correct, James. I mean, Ed.
and so then it goes back to that whole piece where why wouldn't, or why doesn't franchisors invest more in going after that set of franchisees? Now, if you have the answer to that, please let me know one day. That can be a sidebar conversation that we could have. But it has just continuously been a struggle to say, hey, if we're going to invest in marketing and targeting potential owner operators, why aren't we intentionally saying, let's go out to the top 10% that are performing within our system? So
Definitely, definitely.
that has been my I guess uh, uh, my advocacy is that from a data standpoint, because I know when I pull that kind of data and you show it to the C-suite, then the C-suite is going to take note. It's a matter of what happens to it as it goes downstream, and a lot of
Well, I
times the
mean,
story gets
isn't that the role of the council that you are a member of at the
yes,
International Franchise Association? I mean, isn't
yes.
that the main purpose of that particular group?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so often, I always hear the excuses being, a lot of times people say the excuses is, well, do they have access to the capital? Well, that is an excuse. How about we provide a solution? And that solution being financial education, okay, or financial literacy.
Mhm.
So I want to get to the solutions for the opportunity, that is an equal opportunity for all the opportunities out there within the whole franchising world. I know we're supposed to be talking about bid execs, but I'm adamant about opportunity within all communities, but especially, yes, I'm a mama's boy, so I'm especially adamant about women having the opportunity to own their own business. And it's because of what my data tells me, that they provide the highest return on investment. And then I'm very adamant about more of the Latino marketplace actually owning and participating in the whole process of business ownership. Um,
Well,
I mean, bottom line, it's the most, as far as when you're talking about entrepreneurial, it is like part of our DNA.
it's part of our DNA for sure. It's really part of our, especially the Latinos. I mean, I mean, Latino as a community, we are like the number one, ethnic group or group that is really opening more businesses in the United States. That's part of the report, came out of Stanford University.
Yes.
The what is it? The State of the Latino Entrepreneurship report released this past January at Stanford University. I was there, so I know that we are, like you said it, Ed. We are entrepreneurial by nature. We like to invest and do business and do things. Here is now the issue that we have to do what you and I are doing, which is promoting more the opportunity that franchising brings to minorities in general. But look, I don't want to take away a lot of the time of people learning about the particular niche. Tú tienes un niche that people are eager. They want to learn about the contracting business industry. Why don't you tell us about Bidexecs? What is really Bidexecs? Explain it so people understand it, and then they see how the possibility that they can really capitalize on the opportunity that you have to offer.
Okay. Well, the first and foremost, we're the first of its kind in as far as in a franchising opportunity in the contracting world. Whether that's that you're wanting to support commercial contracting or government contractors. So we're talking about business development. If you have someone that wants to do as far as if you're doing business development already, it becomes a matter of what is your bandwidth. If you are especially in the contracting or understanding of contracting, and you say, well, I want to help my friend get a government contract. Well, there's a process. You have the front end, which is your business development piece. And then, of course, you have your back end, which is your proposal solutions. What we are is the entire from the front to the end, the business development and the proposal solutions. So one, we're going to do a plan with you as far as, what contracts that are out there and available to you. And then, of course, we're going to provide you those solutions as far as whether it's, you need an outline. As you can see here about Bidexecs, this is all modularized. And also as far as all the different, you're on our page, hit the solutions button.
Solutions, yeah.
Correct. Great. Click on that. And so when you start talking about government contracting, again, on the front end, you've got the business development. So now you say, okay, this is the contract that I want to go after. Well, within that, you're going to have the proposal development, okay, as far as as far as the submission. And there is going to be different parts of that goes into you submitting for that, whether it's, again, federal or
that's what I was going to ask you. So when you're talking about, okay, so tell me first, explain all the different contractors that people can go after. I know that in government, obviously, I'm assuming that they are federal, state, and local, city also contracts, or not?
Correct. Yes. And separate the two, because one, you have federal contracting, which is the federal government, which spent $21 trillion last year. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you have that sub-market, which is your SLED, which is your state, local, and education. Mm-hmm. It doesn't limit us to also, when you start talking about universities, they need, as far as proposal solutions when it comes to writing their grants. It doesn't exclude as far as hospitals. They need, as far as proposal solutions, those written proposals when it comes to their supplies. That is the marketplace that we're talking about. And we're not limited as far as any sector of the federal government. Depending on what your business is, there may be a need in a variety of different sectors of the federal government itself.
Fantastic. So besides the federal government or the government, I know that there is also commercial. I mean, what are the different levels of the different, I guess, categories?
Yes. And when it comes to the commercial side, again, if there is a commercial contract, which they're usually on a more shorter term, or commercial contractors are, say there's a commercial contract for something to be built or something or need, those are really more of your shorter process driven contracts to go after. So you're not limited. Again, you're not limited to just federal, but it is such a big pie in the federal that I don't know if you
There is
really
plenty money to be generated just in the federal government. Just like one contract and you can retire, something like that. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, yes, but at the same time, it's not just about building that one contract. When a business developer works with you, let's just say one of my franchisees were to work with one of your listeners that's on the phone that has a business. We're going to build out a business plan that is going to be a pipeline of potential contracts for you to go after. Now, we're going to build this out to where it's like, one, we want to know where you want to be in 3 years. What is your plan for 5 years? Is it to grow your business to be a certain size and then you want to sell it? Or is it to grow that business to a certain size and create legacy? That's that business process as far as that business planning process. When it comes to, okay, Ed, I'm ready and this is the contract that I want to go after. We also provide you with the actual proposal development piece, whether it is, hey, okay, we need to get this outline in because this RFP, which is, you have RFIs, which is requests for information, and you have the RFPs is where, hey, here's the contract that's out there readily available for everybody to go after. We're going to put you in the best position to capture, because that's the name of the game. We want you to capture contracts. And that contract could be something that's the life of 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. It just really all depends on the total capacity of your company. And of course, the life of the actual contract.
So Ed, so then let's assume that somebody, a Latino, bought a franchise, one of your franchise.
Yes.
You guys will provide the training.
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming technology also that will help them.
Yes. There's three key elements that we're going to provide for you. Number one is the processes, which includes the training. We're going to train you, and you're going to be ISO certified 9001. And you're also going to be ISO certified 27001. Now, the reason why I mention those is that it is very important to have ISO certifications when you're in the whole contracting game, as you want to say. Those ISO certifications, you're not having to go out there and independently get those. You're going to be getting those as part of the umbrella of being our franchisee. Okay, I've been under our umbrella as a franchisee. You also have something else that's coming down the pike, which is called CMMC certifications. We have already went through the process and are prepared to also be CMMC certified. Again, that's going to be part of what you're going to be receiving as a franchisee of our system. So the processes, training. 2, we're going to also provide you with that technology and tools. We have some proprietary tools. And then, of course, any of your guests out there that are possibly currently an 8A company, they have a platform that was provided to them from the SBA called BitSpeed. We are partnered with BitSpeed. So that's part of our tools. Again, it is a tool that we utilize to feed into your information to get what is the best opportunities out there for you. But it's the human factor. Okay, we're taking that AI technology, and then we're also coupling with a real life research team that will then home in on the opportunities within that opportunity, because there may be that large contractor that comes to us and said, hey, do you have anybody in the Latino marketplace or Latino business that could provide this service for this contract that we have?
So technically you guys get the clients for the franchisees. So how do they get the client?
You get the clients as far as for the franchisees with our CMR, with our CRM, our CRM system.
CRM.
And when it comes to the actual clients themselves, they normally come to us because we have numerous webinars with whether it's the federal government, as far as when I say federal government, last week we had a webinar with the Department of the Army Corps of Engineers. And they were talking about, hey, here are some contracts that are coming up. And so companies actually come to the webinar, and when they come to the webinar, they are already asking, like, hey, I want to know more about how do I, become a part of this or get an opportunity to get this contract. And those are what you want to call leads, but we call them hot leads. And because they already know about you. And of course, you're now reaching back out to them to see how you can provide the service for them. Okay.
So the franchisees then, I guess they go to, they will be the one that will get the lead from you.
Yes, they also are. We're helping them to actually create the leads. All right.
Okay.
So then thirdly, about that processes, again, we're going to provide you with the processes. Then we're going to also provide you with the technology and as far as the tools. And it's a variety of different tools. We have everything from BidQuote, which is a tool that actually gives us what the quote for the pricing to do the job and things of that nature. We have our Bid Speed, we have our Bid Hub, and a lot of this is AI technology driven as well. And then, of course, we also have a real life employees that are part of the research team. And that is the third part that we're going to provide you, and that's the infrastructure. We have 90 plus employees that are prepared in different aspects of the organization, whether it's you need BD support or do you need proposal solution support. So from end to end, we support our franchisees. And let me just hit a couple of points that I really want to remember to let you know is that as a franchisee of ours, we're going to also get a designated market to offer those services and provide your clients with support. And that back office support piece being that we will create your website, we will create your ads, we will create and help also get those webinars in place and the guest speakers of those webinars being, key players. We're talking about the key players in any organization. And we have a webinar coming up on the 28th of July in which the franchisee, her name is Amika Ali. She's Bidexecs Houston. And her webinar is with the GSA. And of course, the GSA, they buy everything from, when you start talking about federal government wise. I know that was a mouthful, but
No, I really wanted to give you more time so you can really explain the whole process, because I'm just trying to make sure that our followers, our listeners, they'll be able to, understand the process. What you as a franchise will be able to provide to them. But let me ask the question that I'm sure that everybody is waiting for. I'm sure. So we're talking about franchising, we're talking about investing. How much does the franchise cost? What's the cost of buying your franchise system?
Right. Our franchise fee is $25,000, and our training fee, which is a one-time training fee, is $5,500. So a total as far as investment of $30,500.
Do they need an office space? They can run this from home, or
correct? Correct. You can run it from home, but we would say to you to get at least a minimum of a Regis office, so that in the event you need to meet with someone, then of course you would want to meet them within a Regis office.
Professional setting, of course.
Exactly. So, the total investment will range from $49,000 to $76,000. And the reason why I say that is that the 49, if you don't already have as far as up to date, as far as technology being, i.e. a laptop, then of course you're going to have to purchase, because some of the software and the technology that we are going to be providing you've got to have as far as some up to date technology to handle. Go ahead.
What is the franchising fee? So when somebody landed a nice, sizable, I hope, contract. And what is the average contract agreement that franchisees could get?
Okay.
from the
let's just say
government.
if you're
No,
on the business
first of
development
all,
side,
how much is the royalty? What percentage?
I'm sorry, the percentage on the royalty is 8%.
8%. And
Yes,
for
sir.
marketing?
There is nothing on the marketing.
Oh, no marketing. So there is no, well, actually,
But
yeah, you
we
don't do.
we do provide you marketing. As far as on the marketing piece, we're going to provide you national and local marketing.
Okay. And so then 8%, 8% of the total contract amount granted or approved, or how's that?
No. Let's say, well, the best example for me to give to you is if Raphael, if you came to me and say, Ed, I want you as my business developer, I'm probably going to charge you about, say, at a minimum, $3,000 a month. Okay.
Mhm.
So I want you to think in terms of what your capacity could be. And what I always say, capacity wise, is before I say I'm going to expand and have an additional person on my staff, is 8 to 10. So if I have 10 Raphaels paying me $3,000 a month doing their business development, that's your dollar amount.
Mhm.
So just do the math on that. So it can be as
Wow.
large as you wish. Again, depending on how large you want to be. But again, I would charge you, say, $3,000 a month to be your business developer.
Mhm.
And of that 3,000, of course, 8% would come to the corporate
To the
office.
franchisor.
Correct.
And what is the average contract amount that you could get? I mean, in those government contracts.
Oh,
I mean,
that,
I'm talking
that's gonna,
about it's 100,000, a million, 10 million contract.
it
I
could,
mean,
I would say they really, they know, I mean, on the smaller ones, we're talking 10 million.
okay.
Okay. And that is where you actually have that conversation as a business developer with, when you're capturing those contracts with that client, as to, if they decide, like, I'm gonna, reward you with 1% of the contract, things of that nature. But we do not get involved in that piece of that part. That is a decision which is made with the franchisee and their client.
So basically, the role of the franchisor is to provide the tools for the franchisees to be able to go and bid for those contracts and be able to, I guess, utilize all the resources that the franchisor provide and all the contacts, all the experience, the expertise, et cetera, et cetera. So they'll be able to get approved. So to some of those or many of those contracts that are available at the government levels, federal, state,
Correct.
whatever they want to go for. Very interesting. So my God, so this is a very low cost franchise opportunity. So how long does it take for a franchisee to recoup their investment? I guess one contract, boom, they did it.
Well, I wouldn't say one contract. What I would say to you is, if you think about what I had just said, if I were to have you as my business, if I were to be your business developer,
Uh-huh.
it really is a matter of how many folks that I bring on right at the very beginning doing their business development. If my average is 3,000 that I have as far as 10 different clients in which I'm doing their business development for, and I'm charging them 3,000 each. And again, I'm using that number because that's pretty much my low end number that I'm gonna, that's at the very low end that I would charge. I have, at the same time, I could say, well, I'm going to charge you, $6,000, but $3,000. I'm using that as the low end.
Mm-hmm.
If I already have 10 folks lined up to be that I'm going to do their business development, I'm going to recoup my franchise fee the first month.
Wow.
Because I'm going to bring in $30,000.
I never seen such a thing in the industry. I mean, I don't know any franchise opportunities that people have the chance or the ability to recoup their investment within the first month that they started the business. I mean, this is unheard of, but I see the opportunity. That's what I say, guys. Those of you that are listening, ustedes que están escuchando, pongan atención porque esto es extremadamente lucrativo, una oportunidad increíble, la cual estamos discutiendo aquí con Ed. I mean, so you guys have to really pay close attention of what we are really talking about. It is like, in a way, an on-tap industry. let me ask you, do you have a lot of competitors? I mean, I'm assuming that this is a very unique industry. Everybody
It
knows
is.
each other competitors. Everybody knows who are the players, and everybody knows exactly all the government agencies because there is X number of government agencies, whether it is federal,
Right.
state, or city, and then so everybody goes to those. To those,
Well,
everybody
what
knows
we
the
like to
players.
say, what we
Right.
like to say as far as on that piece is that we are the first to be a franchisor in this industry. So we're very
Repeat that
disruptive.
again because I'm gonna give you a round of applause because I don't know what it is, but it feels great when I hear and people tell me that they are the first. Repeat it again, please.
We are the first within this industry to be. So we call ourselves the McDonald's of the.
Wow, man. Wow, wow, wow.
Thank
This
you.
one is for you and your team. By the way, I wanted to show also the name or who is in within your team. I believe I have it on. Let me show the website. Uh, I want to make sure that recognize your team, the CEO. I was surprised to see that you guys have a female CEO in the company. Where did I see
Yeah,
that? Is
go
it
to yeah, go to the other one.
the
Flip
other
to
one?
the other. Yeah, just click over there and
Solutions? No.
no,
Contact
just
us?
hit the home page. Hit the home.
Mhm.
There you go.
So this is, I don't see them here.
Just keep going down. It should be popping up there.
Yeah, let me see. Maybe it's me that is going slow here. So who is the CEO of the company?
Our CEO is Rena Bhatia. She has over 30 years of government contracting experience. She's also on the Goldman Sachs 100.
Wow, wow.
Extremely awesome person. Um, I am, it gives me a lot of joy. Uh, there it is. You had to be on, about the company. It gives me a lot of joy being a part of this team. And when the opportunity, came as far as to be a part of this team, to be a part of Bidexecs, I jumped on it. So
So you are the VP of franchise growth and relations, and you have also a president.
yes,
They look to be there.
Satya,
Yeah.
yes, Satya Mishra, he's the president, proposal helper as and Bidexecs India.
Okay.
Uh, Victoria Whitlock is over our training, and Basavant Katre is our technology officer.
Does the concept of this franchise came from India? I noticed. I see that you guys also have a
No,
presence in India.
yes, we do. In fact, that's how we actually provide 24/7 coverage for all of your needs. If you told me that you needed an outline and you needed it by, say, this Thursday, well, I would submit that outline to get it completed to you, and we would have it usually within 24 to 48 hours. And we're able to do that because not only do we have a team in Herndon, Virginia, where we're based, but we also have a team that is located in India.
In India. Okay, fantastic. And how many employees do you guys have? How big is the
Uh,
company?
90 is 90 plus employees.
Wow. So, yeah, the company is really growing, and I noticed that you guys established the franchise recently in the middle of a pandemic.
In the
Tell us
middle of the
about it.
pandemic, we launched in the middle of the pandemic in 2021, and we have actually grown. And just think now, we were only in uh, Virginia. We're in Herndon, Virginia. And we have grown within 1 year that we are now based in Texas, Louisiana, Colorado. We're about to also expand into Montana, Wyoming, and it goes on and on and on. But that's in the course of 1 year. So our goal is that we will have a franchisee in every state. So every state capital is what my goal and my hopes is that we actually have at least one franchisee in every state of the union by the end of 2023. Um, The other part is that now we are also, as far as when you start talking about international wise, because you have countries that are wanting to do business with the U.S. government, we are currently, as far as working through, to be in Canada and also in UAE.
Fantastic. I guess we have a question of one of our listeners. I don't know if you can read it. Hey, John, my friend, un abrazo desde aquí, campeón. So thank you for listening to the podcast. So Ed, John Rodriguez is he's asking. I know John, he's in Florida. He's asking. Well, this is a great concept. Can you talk about how you can take advantage of minority opportunities in gaining government contracts?
Absolutely.
Do you assist in being minor? Well, let's answer that question first, and then I'll ask the other question.
On that part, what I'm going to say, as far as taking advantage of minority opportunities and gaining government contracts, my answer to that is number one, in the Latino community, as a business owner, you need to get registered, okay? And you go to sam.gov and get registered to do government contracts. Okay. Then secondly, when I take that second part of the question, yes, we do assist owners in getting certified. As far as when you start talking about minority certifications, yes, we do assist our clientele in that aspect as well.
And the third one? And then there is opportunities for the business in assuring businesses to become minority certified.
There is opportunity. Well, absolutely. But let me also say this to John, is that do not limit yourself. It's one thing to go after those opportunities in which are out there. Let's just say a Lockheed Martin, they get the $1 billion contract. Well, within that contract may be some set-asides that they have to fulfill when it comes to that contract. Yes, it'd be great if I could get 10% of $1 billion, because I'm that minority contractor, that gets that awarded to me. But I do not ever want to limit myself. I would like to be able to, to grow my business to the point where I can also go after the $1 billion contract. I just don't want the crumbs. Okay.
Of course. Johnny's asking another question, and we're gonna conclude with this one. Anything franchise in Florida? Anything happening franchising? What are the territories?
I am in Florida just about every other month. John, I come out to Florida because there's quite a few conferences that are actually either defense conferences. Also come out to Florida for Vets 20. Well, it was just out there for Vets 22, and it's all about business. So yes, Florida is one of our areas in which we are looking to franchise as far as within the state of Florida, and we would like to do that sooner than later. So Florida is on our list for this year.
So is John or anyone else that is listening have a question, they can contact you directly? They can call you at this number?
That is correct.
The correct number, 571-325-8628.
That is my telephone number.
Or also, John, you can send him an email directly to Edward at bidexecs.com, right?
That is correct.
That's your email. And if you want to find out, you want more information, you have more doubts, you can also visit their website, which is this one, bidexecsfranchising.com. Any final thoughts, Ed? So we can wrap it up.
Well, number one, Rafael, I want to say thank you. You're a blessing. All right. You have been a blessing. It was a blessing meeting you at the Latino Symposium. This was the 8th year for it, and I participated pretty much every year. I appreciate Jorge, connecting us and things of that nature. But I say, keep up the fight. Keep up the fight. We're fighting a good fight. And let's go out there and continue to raise our.
You saw this award?
Yes, I did.
This was given to me by the IFA back in 2015 for their diversity, for the work that I have done in diversity, minorities, helping minority franchising. I guess my brand, was almost 100% minority. I mean, it was something amazing that I was able to build. But you're correct. I mean, I'm very happy to have you and really to get to know you. And believe it or not, I wasn't planning to go to that event. I made a decision at the last minute. My friend Mark Madrid, believe it or not, you remember Mark Madrid from the
Oh,
Small Business Administration?
Me and Mark, we go all the way back when he was the president of the Austin Chamber of Commerce.
Oh my
The
God!
Austin Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Yes, I've worked very closely with Mark.
Well, I met Matt at the Stanford University. I participated in the program that he was the CEO over there at the non-for-profit organization.
Right.
So yeah,
In
Mark
fact,
called me. He said, "Hey, you have to be there." I said, "Okay, Mark."
Stanford took Mark from us in Austin.
Oh, really? No, but I'm glad. I'm glad that all of this is, I mean, it's a puzzle that is really coming together the way I see it. But look, I'm just, this is free. I don't charge for this. I spend a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of resources. I thought that to do a podcast, it was something simple, but it requires a lot of work, a lot of time. And I'm doing it with a lot of passion. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and the word is out. It's just to promote franchising, to help minorities, to help Latinos, to help African American, to help people that they don't understand what franchising is all about. I don't understand it. My Latino familia. Sometimes I hit my head on the wall when I see that they prefer to fail by trying their own business instead of joining a franchising system. And I don't get it. I don't get it.
And it goes back into that whole piece about the data. If I can show you the numbers and I say, okay, the 5% success rate, I want to go inside of those numbers. What is the success within the 5% of businesses that actually succeed after 5 years? What are those businesses? And the majority of those are franchises.
I definitely have to bring you more often to the podcast, and we should continue to do this because I'm sure that you and I have a lot to contribute to our minority, to all the minorities here in this country, and really be able to help, because we have a lot of resources. You know a lot about franchises. You work in multi-billion-dollar enterprises. Now you are running now a franchise company, a unique opportunity. So definitely. Plus, you are involved with the IFA. The IFA is the institution. My God, that's like the federal government in franchising. The IFA is the place to be, and you are part of them because you are part of that committee that is helping the African American community. So the best of the best for you, my friend. I hope that your franchise system keep growing, and really hope that the next time we connect, you really double, triple, quadruple the number of franchisees and continue, with this prosperity and everything that you're building. And congratulations to you and your team and everybody else that is really putting a lot of work at developing this brand. Okay.
All right. Appreciate it. And God bless you.
And don't forget, anyone that is really listening and wants to follow our dear friend Ed, visit the website and get as much information as possible. So for now, we're just gonna say goodbye, and it will be until the next podcast. I believe I have another podcast. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I have our dear friend. I have Jorge. He's gonna join me tomorrow in a special podcast because he was invited the other day. He couldn't make it, but now finally we're gonna do it tomorrow, and we're gonna be talking about Latino involvement and everything that he has been built with his magazine and the symposium and everything else that even Young Brand is providing, to support minorities and Latino in the industry. So all of that is great, man. All of that is great. Oh my God, I see more questions. Oh, John is saying thank you. John said thank you, and
thank
also
you, John.
And also he said that yes, sir, awesome. Awesome, very proud. Oh, very proud. Okay, John, thank you. I'm proud of you, my friend. We know when I started in franchising, John was there in Orlando, Florida, for me. So, all right, guys, this is all that we have for today or tonight. Keep listening, keep following. Please click like, and we will connect again soon. Until next time. Bye-bye. Muchas gracias por escuchar nuestro podcast. Esperamos que la información haya sido de su agrado. Manténgase en sintonía, síganos en todas las plataformas de social media y visite nuestra página en el internet www.franquicias.com. Hasta la próxima.